that's how my daughter say amen. She be like, amen. Mommy, give me my food. Amen.
She just does that when she's ready for dinner.
She be like, amen. At nighttime, she said, amen.
Right. When she ready for the Holy Ghost, she gets slow with it. When she ready to eat, she get fast with it because she's her TT's niece.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Love You to Life podcast. We are so glad you are here.
We already on 10. I just have to be honest with y'all because this topic right here is the topic of the decade. This is what I'm calling the 92 percenters topic.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
So I'm going to start at the top of this episode telling you 3 things. Number 1, buckle in. Number 2, protect your neck because we coming for you.
Headlocks.
But number 3, sharing is caring, people. Share this with somebody else who needs to hear this because we can all be free together.
That's right. That's right. We want y'all to be free.
Now, here's why this topic is so near and dear to her. Because, and guys, we've said this before. One of the things that tends to happen is we'll be working through something or experiencing something or facing something in real life. And then it'd be like, boom, 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 boom. So we're like, oh, got to bring it to the podcast. And so what I do now is if a TikTok video hit me real like, oh, that should be an episode, I'll just send it to her inbox and be like, episode.
And then I look at my TikTok and I had 85 messages that I'm supposed to read through because she's going to send me 85 different messages.
Because here's the thing that we have noticed. Sometimes people they'll put their toe. They put their little toe into a touch of the subject, right? They're just, But they don't actually really get into it like they need to. So sometimes somebody will be like, oh, here's an idea. And we're like, oh, no. We need to get into that. We need to get into that. And this is the topic that we need to get into.
The little giggle, beware. The little giggle, beware.
Because if you just be like, ooh, mic drop, and you don't actually do that reflective work, if you don't do that excavation up in there, you're not going to get no breakthrough.
Emotional excavation. I'm here for that. I like that. Let's put that on the shirt. Emotional excavation. Dig that mess out. Get up under it. Dig it out. Yes.
So there's 2 videos we're going to reference today. The first video is one that I think, and it was like a nice little cute little elderly woman. Looked like she was sitting on her front porch and she was talking about how so many people, particularly women, and I'm going to go a step further and say Black women have spent so much of their time almost from birth in caregiving role that they never actually learn how to caregive for themselves.
Have mercy, my God.
So we're going to open this episode with a question for you, lifers. When was the first time that you started taking care of other people? Go ahead, think about it. Because some of y'all are driving and you're like, where was it? That's what you're doing right now. But here's why I want you to do that. Because very often, women especially are conditioned to be caregivers almost from birth. We give them a little baby to carry around. We give them a kitchen set. We give them a little push stroller. We give them a shopping cart.
Sunny Grace don't have no baby dolls. Not yet. She's still a baby.
And so they spend all their time in caregiver role and they begin to develop an identity around the fact that you're a caregiver.
Have mercy, God.
And I'm not, this is not my experience. I don't know if it'll be different when I actually get there because I'm approaching it. But I have heard this and seen this so many times in people who are approaching the empty nest. It's almost like they don't know who they are without someone to take care of. And so they have even a harder time with that transition.
It's not almost, Cal. I think it is. I don't think it's almost. You think it's almost?
I was being gentle. I was trying to be the sweet one today.
No. Girl, you have to wake up a lot earlier in the morning to come in here being the sweet one.
Oh, that was Rude. Rude.
Because that spice you got, no, Lottie,
That first of all, that was rude. I
You
just
know
wanna
it's
go on.
true. You know it's
I
true.
didn't say it wasn't true. I didn't say it was true. I said it was rude. Okay? Now, so the question is for the love you to lifers, when
Yes,
was
ma'am.
the first time that you remember taking care of someone else? And I thought about this for myself because y'all probably don't know this. I'm the youngest of 5. And so I have siblings who were adults before I was born, like adults married and had their own kids before I came into the world. So I
Okay.
quite literally was an auntie before I was born.
Mhm.
So I have nieces that were really kind of more raised more like cousins, but I had like actual nieces like 4 or 5 years old. And so and we think of it as cute. And I'm not saying that it's wrong, right? It's not wrong, but oh, she gets to help with the baby. Oh, she's gonna help give me a passy, whatever, whatever. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm saying like when your identity develops around someone else's experience of you, do you really develop your own identity of yourself? What do you think
I
about
mean,
that?
I think it's a really good question, and I think it skips over some
Yes.
developmental stages that we need in our becoming of our human self, of our female self,
Yeah.
of our human self. It's so easy to not know where you fit in when you've been conditioned to just take care of the people around you.
I saw that video probably very early after it was posted, and it had thousands of comments. I mean, thousands of comments because people were like, "Oh my god,
This is
this is
me.
me. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that's how I feel. Oh my
Mhm.
god." So if you're having that feeling of like, "Who am I without the people that I take care of?" This is the episode for you.
Put your
And
feet down.
yeah, I told her to buckle in. I said, "Buckle
I mean,
in."
you told it, but I'm just reminding them if they haven't.
And part of why we care about this so much for you lifers is because people who come to the Love of Your Life podcast are people who are saying, like, I want more. I want abundance. I want opportunity. I want to have a career that I enjoy. I want to have relationships that I enjoy. I want to love well and I want to experience love. And
Yes.
so, how you view your ability to give and receive, it's all connected. It's all connected. If you're having a hard time getting into relationships that are mutually beneficial. Can we talk about that for a second?
Ooh. Ooh-wee, I was just talking to someone about that. I was talking to someone who had spent, like, several hours on the phone being the sounding board for another person, and she was like, "I just really she doesn't have many people to talk to, and I just wanted to be there for her." And I understood that, and I said, "Hey, I'm holding space for that, but I'm curious about whether or not that's ever reciprocated to you." And then she was just like, "Huh?" She didn't say nothing after that because I know it's not reciprocated to her because we've talked so much that I know it's not reciprocated to her. So, yes, you give her 2, 3, 4 hours in the middle of your day or on your weekend. And then when you need somebody to talk to, she's not the one you run into to talk to. And if you do go to her, she doesn't have space for it like that.
And the holding space for it doesn't allow them to develop the capacity for it, right? Like if you
Right.
always holding the space for the other person, and I mean this can be as your adult children, extended family members, coworkers, colleagues, friends, you name it. Like there we all need to be whole. Like we all need to have this fully developed identity where we see ourselves as capable. We have our, and I say this all the time, and this is one of the few things, there's only a handful of things that me and my parents would be like, and I
What?
would always say, listen, I want my children to develop independence and not depend on me. I don't want them depending on you. I don't want them depending on me. If the only thing they can depend on is the cross. They can depend on Jesus Christ.
Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus.
Everything else, they need to see themselves as, and it's not that I'm like, oh, they need to, get up, put their stuff up by their bootstraps. It's
It's
not
not
like
that
that.
at all.
I
No.
want them to develop independence and a sense of self-reliance. Why are you giggling?
The reason why I'm laughing because I remember having to cuck you down off the wall. She was gonna go after my mama, y'all. She was gonna get with my mama. I promise. I had to be like, okay, 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 we can figure this out. Okay, it's gonna be all right. But she was just like, we are raising people. People who are supposed to be able to be good on their own. People are supposed to, and I was like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It is true. People are not always thinking about the long-term effects of whatever
Right,
it is they're doing, whether it
right,
is something they consider loving or not. Like, they're just not thinking about the long-term consequence of that. And the way that we really feel about that childhood experience is that, number one, we want you to be a kid for a long time. We want you to
right,
really suck the juices out of your childhood and then be well prepared for your
right.
role as becoming an adult and then living your adult life. So I just remember that it was
Which
once
is exactly why
what?
she always be like, "You're not gonna be able to just take up for Sunny Grace, no matter what she say." And I'm like, "But I can, and I will." Because it does start early, this conditioning to care about what other people think, prioritize other people's wants, needs, beliefs, whatever. So when she's like, I took her to the play place and she acted like she didn't want to sit down at the circle time, I was like, and she didn't want to sit down at the circle time because she's an independent thinker and she has her own opinion and she can because her viewing of the world at under 2 years old is a self-centered view of the
And
world.
Imma let her have it, and Imma let her have that. Imma let her have that. Like, it was a little extra work for me because she can't just walk up on the children and take their things. So we had to go ahead and say, "Hey, this is his. Let's find one for you." But Imma let her have that developmental milestone. That's where she's at. She does not have to hurry up and grow up because it's a little uncomfortable for me. Oh, come on, somebody. She does not have to hurry up and grow up because it's a little uncomfortable for me because it doesn't, like, fit right into a little pretty little box. She don't have to do that. So if you are listening to the podcast and not watching the podcast, she's clowning. So make sure y'all catch the podcast replay on YouTube when it's available, okay? Because that what she just did with her little teacup, that was a bit much. But like I said, my daughter does not have to do that. She does not have to grow up faster because it would be easier. It would prevent something from discomfort for me. I can manage my discomfort. I'm the adult.
And let's talk about the cultural context of that, right?
Sure.
Because Black children are always adultified,
Yes.
parentified.
Yes.
They are always expected to make things easier.
Oh Lord. I don't know how we gonna read this pot. Y'all, just bless us. Just say
Listen here. I think you
yeah.
told the story on the podcast before, but
What?
listen, one of us is spicy and one of us is sweet. But every now and again, sweet gets spicy. Okay.
What
And
did I
I'm
do?
talking about because what I was getting ready to say is we are raising children who don't believe that they have to step to the side because somebody else don't want to say excuse me.
And they
Okay.
and they
And that's a
don't.
cultural experience. If you are listening to this episode and you are not a Black person, understand that the expectation often when you walking down the sidewalk, people will walk smooth into you. If you are a Black person, and I'm typically speaking about white people, they'll walk smooth into you
She not lying.
without saying excuse me.
Mhm.
And so one of the things I'm not raising people to step aside.
Me
So
ei
one of the times when the sweet got spicy is
What?
when somebody tried to make my child give up her preferred project subject. And you would have thought this one was finna go up to the elementary school and
And
do a
what?
full sit-in.
And
Now I
what?
thought about that one.
And was my sweet baby niece, Leila, was about to do her project on Rosa Parks.
I don't think it
Was
was
it
Rosa
Rosa
Parks.
Parks?
I
If it
don't
was
think it was.
like Shirley's Chisholm?
No, please don't run through a bunch of
Madam
Black
CJ
people.
Walker? Look, Madam CJ Walker?
Obviously, y'all, it was a Black History Project.
Well, I mean, Layla chooses Black people. So it was a Black woman that she was going to choose to personify for her project. And she had worked on it for a week or two when the teacher came to her and asked her, would she go and pick a different character? And the reason why she wanted Layla to pick a different character was because another girl in her class who was not Black wanted that character. And that teacher told my little baby niece in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, I think she's about 8 or 9. So that 2nd grade is 8. I
It
think
was
she's
like 8. She was probably like 9. She was probably
9.
like
Yeah. She told my sweet baby niece, "Well, you are so smart. I just knew that you could pick another person quickly and just move right along with your project." You told her what? Oh, you didn't tell her that? Not on my watch, you didn't. You thought she needed to stop what she was doing and then pick a whole different thing because Mary Sue over there, that's what she wanted to do. You're not doing that. You're not doing that to my baby niece. You're not going to do it. And so I don't know what ended up with the little girl that was in the class. I don't know what she ended up doing, but I know Leila didn't change her person. And as far as what at a schoolhouse, my husband has already been up to the schoolhouse for Calvin's kids in a heartbeat. What do you mean? Up at the school. Hi, I'm here because my niece, what? And we are an
And here's the
education
thing,
family. We respect
we
and
are
love
educators and we are people of honestly peace. Like we really just value peace. We just bring peace where we go. Like that's just kind of what we are. But don't test it. Don't test it.
what you're not gonna
And
do is create a hostile environment for these babies because we refuse to allow them to grow up with the fear and fatigue that many of us have had to deal with and are now emotionally excavating.
right, because what happens is it starts with, well, they expected me to give up what I wanted. So now what do? Next time I preemptively do that.
Right.
And
And
then over time, I realized, oh, that's become my personality. That's just what I do. That's what people expect of me. And so it starts with one, but it keeps going with the other. So the reason I'm asking y'all to really think about where your first caregiving started is because sometimes it's not always what happened to you, but it is the meaning that you gave what happened to you. And
right,
so many of us started caregiving very early on. And it wasn't that the caregiving itself was wrong, but it was the fact that we learned to define our value as a person based upon how other people perceived us. And that is the problem.
right. I think it's important for us to really give more weight around the science of how your brain works.
For sure.
Like, it is just you let this thing happen repeatedly, so much
Right.
so that it feels like it was with you from the beginning, but it really wasn't. It was
Right.
just it was a beaten path that you allowed your brain processor to make. And so
Right.
it is important that you learn to catch those thoughts and
Right.
catch the actions that are going to happen after that thought. Because once those actions and thoughts agree, we're going down the road with making your operating system. And many times we're just like, okay, well, it's just this one time. Okay, well, just this the
Mhm.
one time. And then before you look up, it's 10 times, 20 times, 15 times, 25 times. Now we're beating a path in your brain in that direction. And so every decision that you are making and modeling for your children even is something that is creating the operating system for you, creating the operating system for them if you're a parent, right?
Right.
And and you got to pay attention to it. And it's just I know that a lot of people are like, "Are you telling me I got to really pay attention to what I think like that?" Yes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you every single day. And,
Yeah.
it's funny because when I'm working with, my coaching clients now and even my clinical stuff that I do with my players, people are like, "Well, I thought I was done with that. I thought I
Mm.
had done that already." And I just gotta tell you, it's layers
Yeah.
and levels. That's why when she said that excavation, I said, "Ooh, that's done got in my guts," because that thing you got to dig that thing up. You know how far that goes? But let me
It
go a little further.
goes.
But let me go a little further with you. What else do you have to dig down for? Oil. You got to dig down for good things. You
Right.
dig down in there and get some good stuff because eventually you're gonna get to the part where it's really, really good. Eventually,
Right.
you're gonna get to the part where you're gonna see the benefit of why you've done the work. But in the meantime, you'd be like, "Dog, I thought I was done with this. Am I gonna ever be done examining my thoughts, examining my childhood, looking over my life? Am I gonna ever be done? Not unless you're there."
Oh, Jesus, they got to
Oh,
die to be done?
you don't want that right now, do you? Okay, then keep doing your work, friend. That's how I feel about that. Keep doing your work, friend.
Mm. And then she gonna giggle. And then she gonna laugh at y'all after she done just put you up.
First of all, Cameron, I want you to right now raise your hand to God, your right hand. Do I or do I not do my work?
No, you do your work. You do your work.
Exactly. And so that's why I can giggle because I'm going to do my work right alongside our listeners. I'm doing my work every single day, and sometimes more than once a day.
Right, 2
All day long.
times.
All day long, I'm doing my work.
Right, and I think this particular work is so, intricate, and it can really be benefited by a relationship with a therapist or a coach or both,
Right?
because there are parts of this that are who you are, that are your core, that are your values, that are your beliefs that, you don't wanna get rid you're like, "We're not trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater," but you gotta figure out what parts should remain and what parts no longer serve you.
Right.
And that brings us to video number 2, which I thought was just one of them mic drop moments, but it needed some further exploration.
So the video of number 2 was a conversation between, Carla Harris and Mel Robbins, and we're dealing on the Carla Harris side. Carla Harris is, I would say, world renowned for her work on Wall Street as a Black woman, for the ceilings that she broke through to become who she is on Wall Street. And one of the things that she was talking about for Black women, her opinion was that Black women don't reach sometimes their true potential because of fear or because of fatigue. And so the
Mm,
fear is, she says, the fear shows up when you're younger, just like, can you make it all work, or can you do it all, or do you have the skills to be able to do it? But then once you have done it, like when you've done that work and made such strides, then there's this part of like, okay, well, now on this part of my life, do I have the energy to do it again? Because you jokers wore me out just getting
mm.
to this point. And I think, for us middle-aged people, we could think about that, what you have accomplished by 40, what you have accomplished by 50, I would even like right now, 60 is not, I would say, like, even what you've accomplished there, I feel
60
like
is Hallie.
that's
60
what I'm
is
saying,
Hallie.
that's Hallie, right? So when you think about that, it's like everything I had to do to create this body of work that I call my career, that I call my life, that I call, my gifting to the world. Golly, everything I had to do to get to that. And now I know that there's this potential to do this other thing, but do I
Right.
feel like going through another glass ceiling? Because like, I think our glass ceilings are different. I think we got
Mm,
double pane glass. I think
I
Black
got
women
you,
have
babe.
double pane glass.
I
Okay?
got you.
So it's one ceiling and then another one on top of that one, because we already know that we're doing, in many cases, twice the work. We
Mm,
already know that we have one of the funniest TikToks I have seen was people trying to talk themselves out of getting another degree or another certificate. Black women trying to talk themselves out of getting another degree or another certification. And listen, I am totally not anti-degree, totally not anti-certification. I got a lot of letters, alphabet soup. I understand all of that. But you ain't seen me get one here lately
mm.
because I'm already overqualified. I
Right.
already know. It doesn't mean I'll never get another one, but I already have confidence in what I know and the way in which I'm using what I already have. And so for many of us, we're always like, I got up at 4 o'clock, I wrote on my dissertation. 5 o'clock, I was writing on my book. 6 o'clock, I ran 6 miles. 7 o'clock, I got the kids up and I made them a gourmet chef's kiss breakfast. 8 o'clock, I walked
Brand new sourdough, just made the
brand new.
sourdough that you want.
Okay. 9 o'clock, I walked into the meeting and I had to tell everybody in there, get my credentials right because y'all know who I am. 10 o'clock, I did the work of the person who didn't do it. 11 o'clock. That's how we be doing. They be like, get ready with me. Girl, I don't want to get ready with you. You don't
Oh, she don't wanna
get
get ready with
I
you?
don't want to get ready with you, friend. Friend, you wore me out already, friend. Friend, I'm tired just watching you, friend. Friend, stop it. So I
Mm,
really and listen, Carla Harris is a phenomenal speaker. I'm pretty sure I think she's done some TED Talks, but if you look her up on YouTube, because I watch her videos from time to time just because, I love respect the OGs. And so I'm like, let me hear what she had to go through and get that in my guts. So you can also find other videos about um her work. But the only issue that I took with her perspective was that I didn't think the fear stopped when you got older.
right.
That's the only thing
It
I
just
didn't think,
morphed.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she and I think the harder thing about fear as you're aging is that now you can make the case to
Mhm.
agree with the fear because
Right.
you've had some living, right? And so, yes,
Mhm.
you can lean towards a positive, um, recounting of an experience, or you can go through and point out the details of why something benefited you. But I think once you're older, you also be like, Them jokers almost took me out, my God, today.
Mm.
Oh my God, today. Them jokers almost took me out. The fact that I had to force myself into the space. The fact that
Yeah.
I had to make, like, when people always say, why do we want to go places where we're not where we are not. I read a comment, somebody says, I'm like, why are we trying to be in spaces where they don't want us? Baby, where do they want us?
They don't
Baby,
I seriously wanted to put up I almost put up a video. I was like, "Somebody tell me where do people love Black people?
where do they want
Tell
us?
me where do people love Black people? Where do they love us? Because that's the only places I wanna visit, that's the only places I wanna live. Where do
Exactly.
they love us?"
And so the thing about it is, here in the Love You to Life world, Love You to Life land, we are always talking about being celebrated and looking for those experiences. But we are not so naive as to believe that you never are in a space where that's not showing up.
Right.
We know that that happens. And so if that's the case, if we're only going to go where we are celebrated, we're going to be at home, I guess.
My God, today.
I guess we're just going to be at home. I don't know where so, yes, we want you to intentionally look for spaces where you are appreciated, celebrated, acknowledged, revered, and we think
Mhm.
that you can make a lifestyle out of that as best you can. But we are not so blind as to think that there's never an opportunity, that you are never in a space where you are not experiencing that. Like, I
Right.
can't tell you how many times there have been conversations around work that I do, and everybody in the room is having a conversation, but y'all didn't invite me to the room. Huh? What? Where they do that at? It happens. It happens, right? So, I'm just saying, guys, pay attention to the fear and the fatigue. And
Right.
Cal, you brought up, you said, "Well, can you remember your earliest caregiving?" I can. I can remember caregiving at, like, 8,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit before that. Maybe a little bit before that.
It probably
Like,
was before.
I remember something at, like, 4 or 5, a little bit of something, but I definitely remember, like, being 8 years old, and I made a video about this for TikTok. I was talking about the time when Big Mama passed, our dad's mom. And daddy was kind of standing over, he got the news, he was kind of standing over the sink in the kitchen, and there was a window there, and I could, kind of tell that he was crying. And I started to cry. And so I'm crying for 2 reasons. I'm crying because daddy crying, but I'm also crying. I mean, it's my grandmother. I didn't know her long in life because I was only like 8 when she passed, but still, I'm a little kid who said, "You said my grandma's gone." So I remember I was starting to go like, oh, like a cry with a sound. And our mother said, "Shh, shh, 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 shh. Don't let your daddy hear you. You're gonna upset your dad. You're
Oh.
gonna upset your daddy." And so I took that experience and swallowed it down and
Ah.
said, "Oh, okay. Let me take care of him. Let me make sure he's okay." And did anybody ever come back in this lifetime to today? I said to today, and ask me, "How are you regarding the loss of your grandma?" I don't think anybody did. But now that I say that, you know who did? I think so. I might have been 3rd grade. I think my 3rd grade teacher did. And if it
Mm.
wasn't her, it was I remember going to a teacher and saying somebody had passed away, and she stopped and had the whole class come hug me.
Oh, that was good.
And so I kinda think it was Mrs. Williamson, and she was 3rd grade. Okay? So, shout out to Mrs. Williamson. Again, we love educators around here, but you better stay on your P's and Q's. Okay,
Right, but I think what it speaks to is how nuanced this conversation really is, right?
right.
Because it wasn't wrong to say, "Can you, be a support to your dad?" Now, it probably was a little bit of a touch of a stretch for an 8-year-old, but showing compassion is something that is, trained into a child. But sometimes these things that were planted in you were not planted with ill intention. They
No,
were
she
not
didn't know.
planted with harm. They were not planted and they might not have even been they might not have been planned with intention at all. It might have just been something automatic that was planted in them.
Right, because
That's
if
what
I'm
I
putting
did.
myself in her shoes as a wife, she's like, "Oh my god, my husband's heart is broken, and now my baby heart is broken. Well, who am I supposed to go to first? What am I supposed to do?"
Right.
Like, I can imagine, I can make the conversation as to why there was no intention, ill intention behind that at all. But what that message that I took from that experience,
Right.
that's a whole different can of worms.
Right.
That's a
And
whole
I
different.
think when it comes to the fear and the fatigue piece, a message that a lot of Black women have gotten, and I'm gonna go back, is that we are not allowed to rest and that we should work until exhaustion, because the one thing you don't wanna call no Black person
Is it the
is
L word?
lazy.
Oh, it was the L word.
You don't wanna be called lazy. They will call you a lazy summer. That L word is like a curse word in the Black community. And so to avoid being lazy, which, let's just call a thing. The idea that y'all calling people who were not paid to work lazy is crazy work,
I
right?
mean, come on. I'm like, the people that was feeding your baby at their boob, you're calling them the lazy ones?
And then here's the worst part about it, which is why everybody should be reading Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, is because we internalize that stuff.
She almost cuts.
We internalize that stuff, and then we in turn created this world in which we passed it along to our children.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you know what I used to do all the time? I would have to use the bathroom. I had to go pee, right? And I would be saying, let me get one more thing done. I just hold it one more time. Let me just go. Now what? Liz, you are not so busy that you can't go and just go to the bathroom. Just go to the bathroom and come back out. All these things that you feel like you got to do today, they're going to be right here. But I'm the kind of person who would be like, I got to pee, but let me wait. Let me get one more thing done. Just let me cross this one more thing off my list. That is the way I used to be. Because I'm so important that I cannot stop and go pee. Come on now. And here's the thing. I'm going to challenge y'all. Love you to life first. Has anybody else done it? Tell the truth and shame the devil. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Okay, if you haven't held your pee, have you said your head is hurting, but you're going to keep on pushing through your list and not eat or not get some water? What about that one?
That goes back to that pain without a purpose. That
I'm
goes back to
telling
that
you,
pain
I know.
without a purpose.
Like, we push ourselves down the list in a variety of ways, time and time again.
Right.
Or if you're the person at the holidays, okay, holiday people, y'all that love the holiday, trying to get one more thing cooked or one more thing baked, and the next day you can't hardly stand up straight because your feet and your back hurt so bad, and you didn't take no rest, you didn't take no break, you didn't tell anybody else to go get another dish and bring a dish. You didn't order
And
catering.
here's the thing about that, because somebody probably offered too. Somebody probably offered some dishes. Somebody probably offered to bring you something, and you were just like, oh no, I got it. And yes, you enjoy being the hostess with the mostest. But what we're talking about, guys, is doing it differently in this season. Because if your identity has been shaped around this belief system that your role is to caregive for other people, right? And you have, so we will say you have like an underdeveloped sense of self. What has to happen to move through that, which is good for everyone, is that you have to start to give yourself the care that you have so willingly given to other people. And I hate to even use the term self-care, because I feel like this term has just been so commercialized
It's not no
and
massage, it's just
gentrified that I
pedicure.
hate to even use that term. But sometimes it is the act of allowing yourself to receive care from someone or from yourself. And we haven't practiced that enough. So I want you to really stop and think, what would it look like in your life for you to actually start to give yourself the time, attention, care, and compassion that you give to other people? What would
Mm,
that actually look like for you? And what are the practices that will get you there? So we collectively just started this challenge and this is the kind of y'all should know that this is the kind of stuff that happens.
mm.
So we'll be sitting somewhere on a Tuesday afternoon, what a Monday afternoon, and just chilling or whatever. And then so we have our mogul chat. Y'all know we have our mogul chat. So we'll get a message be like, moguls. And I'll be
Well, what
like,
you
do
trying to
I have
prompt me on this
time?
podcast today? It's okay.
Do I have time for this today? And then I'll be like, okay, present. And then here come the next message, little bubbles come up. Okay, I just sent y'all $21. Buy this challenge.
I don't care what you're saying.
You see?
Yeah, I
I
did
didn't
it.
did I say I wanted to be a part of a challenge? Did I
Look,
ask
how
for a
would you send me the money back if you didn't want the challenge? But I was
challenge?
gonna give you the challenge
So
because
she'll be like, I'm gonna let this challenge me, and I'm going to eliminate any potential reason for you to not like. She know we got $21. She don't care. She don't care. She just being like, it's like she just be this what it is. It's just like, there you tag you in. That's what it is.
It was
So
like
last
9:30.
night we get this tag you in message that says, I'm gonna do this abundance challenge so that I can practice receiving
Mhm,
without the expectation of having to constantly give and overwork. And I
mhm.
want you to do it too, sucker. Oh, thanks. I
You're not a
didn't know
sucker
that I
for
was
doing
getting
it.
ready to do that, but here we go.
Not a sucker for doing it. Hey, listen, y'all my village. Like, why would I not do that? So why should I do it by myself? Like, for what? For what? Matter of fact, I could think of 2 other people I want to send it to. Imma send in $21 too. I know they got the money too. I don't care. So, I'm just making your way smooth. The Bible said he'll smooth it out. He'll bring it the high
And then
low.
she tried to throw a scripture
He
on
said
top.
he'll make the
Ain't that
crooked
just like a preacher's
the
kid?
Bible
Throw a
said
scripture on top of it.
the Bible said he'll make the crooked straight. So I'm just smoothing your path out for you. I'm just telling you, I'm just smoothing your path out. But here's the thing. One of the things, so I started the challenge, and this is gonna be my last little point. One of the things I loved in the pre-work of the challenge was the question because it's about abundance and it's about learning to receive. And that is something I'm always working on because I am a giver, but being a giver, sometimes I struggle with being the receiver. And so I was like, hey, let me ratchet this up a bit more. Let me take this to another level and run through this abundance challenge. And so one of the things she asked, she was like, where do you feel really supported right now? And stop and feel that. Like, because that
Mm,
is not a feeling that you don't get to keep having. So
right.
connect with it so that you can continue to look for it and see it. This is the way I would describe it. Connect with it so you can continue to see it. Connect with it so you
Mhm.
can continue to thank God for it, to express gratitude for it. And what I thought about was my mother-in-law. The way she helps me mother my daughter, the way she looks out for her, amazing. Like I went to my OBGYN today and she was like, how's your relationship with your mother? Because I said the baby's with her granny. And she said, she said, your mom, your husband's mom? I said, my husband's mom. She was like, how's your relationship with her? I said, amazing. Like she's
Mm,
all that in a bag of chips. I mean, my mother-in-law thinks ahead for Sonny, like, in a way I cannot imagine. And you may wash her clothes. If she mess up her clothes, she wash them and send them back clean and folded and smelling pretty. And all I gotta do is just take it out, just put it in a bag. Just put it on a shelf. Put it in a drawer. So it's like the support that I have with her, amazing. And so that was one of the things that I want all of us to do. I'm challenging our lifers to look for the areas in which you currently feel supported. Look for the areas where you currently feel, because we talked about fear and fatigue, where you currently feel strong. And every
right.
time that shows up where you're like, I feel strongly right here today, or I feel supported right here today, like, just soak that in. Stop and pause and breathe that in so that you're training your system to be able to see it more often. So that you're training your system to remind you to acknowledge it when it shows up. Because that's the
Right.
other part is that some of us are doing so much. There might be moments where we actually do have what we want, but we skip over it. We can't even pay attention because we're not going to pause long enough to do that. And so, if you want to be that person who is not in that cycle of fear and fatigue, then go ahead and acknowledge when you receive exactly what it is you want. That's that feeling of strength and the feeling of being supported.
Right, because what we're talking about is the brain science of it all, right?
Mhm.
Which is the reticular activating system. What you pay attention to, you're going to notice more of.
Yes.
What you there's the person who's doing this challenge, we just finished reading her book, which we probably should do an episode about that because we now we were we're on round 2 and 3 of reading this book because it really is when you get to a certain level of economic success and you decide you want to get to a level that you haven't seen anybody else at and you don't necessarily have like examples in your day-to-day life, you have to start looking outside of that, right? And so we've been going through this book and one of the things like that is becoming more and more obvious to me is when you position yourself to pay attention to the things that you want. It's not that the things you don't want just automatically go away, but the energy of them is less prevalent for you. So she's got this um I'm gonna call it like an exercise in the book where she says for you to spend time, and I've started doing this a couple times a week, and I might give myself a challenge of doing it every day. You spend some time going through everything in your life that you're grateful for, as many things as you can think of. And I mean like simple things like what you are, what levels of support do you have? Where are things abundant in your life? And then you pivot to, and what desires do I have? So many times we feel like when you're grateful for something that you can't also have desire. And so creating a world in which these two things kind of exist, where yes, I am a caregiver, but I receive. Yes, I am grateful, but I'm also have these desires, and all of these things can work together, conditions your brain to stop feeling like, well, I got to do everything by myself because ain't nobody gonna help me. If I, you heard that. If I don't do it, nobody will.
Or how about this one? If you want it done right, do it yourself.
Right? So we have to really, when we talk about changing your life and loving your life, because we love you to life, you do have to have these practices, and you do have to incorporate these, and you do have to remind yourself of these things, because you're living in a world where you are being reminded 24/7 about everything that is wrong.
Oh God.
And
Mm.
so if you don't take a few intentional minutes to say, I really sure do appreciate my mother-in-law taking care of my baby. And I know a lot of people don't have that, and they can't stand their mother-in-law. And I just cannot even relate, child. Because
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like if you don't take some time for that, you do get to that place where it starts to physically wear you down.
Mhm.
And I see so many women that get to their 40s and their 50s, and I'm like, y'all, 60 is Hallie now. We can look good at 60 now. We
Sure
can
can
feel good at
and
60
will.
now.
Sure can and will.
So I'm like, we don't have to be old and tired. There's that people sometimes do. Sometimes it backfires on 'em, but they'll do that little filter of like, oh, this is what I thought like I was gonna look like when I become 40. And sometimes I'm like, sis, don't do that. Don't
Mm,
it
mm.
don't look as good as
And
you
don't
thought it
ask,
did.
and
And,
please don't
and
ask
don't
me how old,
invite nobody to be mean to you. Don't. But
and don't ask
sometimes
me
it's like,
how
oh,
old
I
you
really do look good or whatever. But
mm-mm.
there is a lot of people that I think are going about this like, well, at a certain age, you're just supposed to be tired and you're just supposed to give up. Not on my watch. I'm
Right?
good, dog. Around here around here, my family, like, my parents got 80s got 80s years worth of life, and I could
Yep.
get 90 if I wanted, and I can
Mhm.
feel good while I'm doing it. So,
Mm.
really start to condition yourself to the reality that, yes, you can caregive if you choose to, but you don't have to morph your identity around that, even as a Black woman, regardless of what other people say, because you can absolutely love your life and the people in it too.
I agree.
So that's what we have for y'all today. And we hope that this was not too much of a headlock, but just enough. Um, we would love for you to do us a quick favor if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure that you like it, that you send it to someone, that you rate it and subscribe and give us a review. And then down there around the episode, we'll have some little things for you that you can look at, all of our socials and so forth. And we'll see y'all in a couple of weeks.
Bye, guys. We
Love
love
y'all to
you.
life.
Bye.